Om Sahanavavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Welcome to our next session of Chhandogya Upanishad. Dvitiya Khanda, first verse. Devasura vai yatra sanye tire ubhaye prajapatyastadha deva udgitha majahrura nenei nama bhibhavishyama iti. Meaning, when the devas and asuras, both born of Prajapati, entered battle, the gods grasped the Udgitha, thinking, with this we will overpower asuras. So this is the creation katha. It's a symbolic, very much symbolic. Prajapati, we all know that from Vishnu Nabhi, a lotus sprung, and from that lotus, Prajapati Brahma came into existence. And he is considered Prajapati, meaning the firstborn. Even in Bhagavad Gita, he is called as Adhideva, meaning he is the one, the first of the devas. And from Prajapati, other devas and asuras were born, meaning they both were created at the same time. You can call it good and bad, good and evil, born at the same time, Sat and Asat, born at the same time. Or in Chinese philosophy, they say yin and yang. We say matter, antimatter. I mean, physics says that energy or matter and antimatter or dark energy, they all created at the same time. Our universe is majorly made up of matter and energy. There is still element of dark matter, dark energy, and even antimatter, anti-energy. So maybe at the time of creation, they are in the quantity, meaning devas and asuras, in number, if we count them as some beings. So,
excuse me, can you borrow some math?
yeah, of course. So they were, if we count them as beings, or if we consider them as matter or energy, then quantity. Right? So, in our universe, it is said that matter or energy is or was, they were greater than antimatter or anti-energy. So devas ultimately defeated asuras. And what was the tool they used? Omkar or Udgit. How? We don't know. But probably the answer is in other Upanishads, like Atharvashira Upanishad, which says that when the universe was created, it came into existence. The first nada or Adi nada was Omkar. From Om, it came into existence. And science says Big Bang. So that bang, now that bang is more of an electromagnetic wave or blast, but in our shastras, it is considered as sound Om. So from Omkara, this universe came into existence, and devas and asuras were created. So devas heard that sound Om, and they thought, because they could hear this sound Om, let's use it. Meaning they started using that sound, chanting that sound Om, and that way they could defeat asuras. And this Devasura Sangram, right, we call it in Puranas, and it's very famous. We know that as part of Devasura Sangram, it's a whole story. Like Kurma Avatar, Kurma Dev was holding Mandar Parvat, and Vasuki Nag was the rope to do Manthan, and one side Devas, other side Asuras. and all the Ratnas came out of that Samudra Manthan. Now that Samudra Manthan could be our galaxy, because we always say or maintain that Vishnu Navi is at the center, meaning it was just the hydrogen cloud, and from that cloud the churning started because of whatever science explains those theories, gravity or some electromagnetic interactions between all the particles, and that churning, it's like Samudra Manthan, and that Navi was Vishnu Navi, the center, and it's Vishnu himself, Narayana himself, as Kurma. Kurma meaning something that holds on to. So he was holding this whole hydrogen or primordial cloud that came into existence as our galaxy, Akash Ganga. And so those two opposing forces, Devas and Asuras, the sound was there, sound Om. And because Devas heard that sound, and that sound is Brahma, we can't say he or she, but Brahma is represented as that sound Om. Devas heard it, even Asuras might have heard it, but Devas used that, meaning that sound was helping the matter or energy more than antimatter or anti energy, so that our galaxy came into existence like that. And if we compare, first Deva is Prajapati, from Prajapati everything is born. Now Prajapati itself, his galaxy, is what I believe. Because if we look at, Prajapati had 5 heads and Shiva broke one because Prajapati grew arrogance. Now there is a story, the whole story in Puranas we can find, but if you look at our galaxy, it has many different spiral arms. So one of the arms is broken, the others are intact. They are kind of, some say it's 5, some say it's 6 or 7. Some arms are close, meaning small or short. But overall, there are 4 visible, big, long spiral arms, and one is broken. So that itself is representing Prajapati. And from that, everything is born. Our solar system and many billions of stars. So that's everything. The whole creation is contained in this one verse. So within one verse, everything is said, and the expansion of this is in Puranas, many different katha, like how the universe is born, what happened in Devasur Sangram. We all know Vish or Halahal came first, and then Shiva had to consume that, meaning some kind of energy, some kind of matter that could destroy the whole galaxy, and Shiva had to consume that. Shiva meaning, call it black hole or whatever we want to name it, but something beyond our dimension, something beyond our observation or manifestation that consumed or sucked that energy out of it, and that's how the galaxy could sustain. And this is where the modern science, approach of modern science and our Shastras differ. Our Shastras, in just one verse, everything, the result is said, because the Rishis have observed in their sadhana, in their tap, in their dhyana, they saw it, and that's how they put into verse. So it's just the result. Like we like amras, right? We take it, but that ras came from certain mangoes. Which type of mangoes? Which type of trees? Which place? So what our Shastras say is amras, take it. But what modern science does is, okay, it has this many qualities, it has various types of nutrition values, where it came from, place, geography, all those details. So science goes into those details, whereas our Shastras just present us amras. This is what it is. But because of that, many a times we negate. Just 100 years back, nobody believed whatever is written here, right? These are all stories in somebody's whim. That's how they mocked everything. Even we Bharatiyas mocked our Shastras in those times. And that's why many converted to Christianity or even Islam. They, even today, majority of the people, without studying all this, they just consider or assume that our shastras are just stories, myth. They use the word myth. Right? But more and more, if we study modern science, we come to understand that no, this is right. This is how it is coded or decoded, and this is how it is represented. So, our job is to study and study with whatever modern tools we can and use it to decode this and to take it further. Because we are, if I say, if I dare to say, since we study Upanishads, that's our job, because it's a great responsibility that this knowledge of Upanishads is very much confined to highly evolved souls. It's not for ordinary people. Since you all are present here, it's given, whether you believe it or not, it's given. It is said, many of the Siddhas talk about the Sukshma Jagat. When we leave our body, our, not Atma, but our Sukshma Sharir, it goes to different lokas. And in various lokas, there are 7 lokas, we always maintain that, right? 7 lokas. So beyond first 4 lokas, the next 3, they are of highly evolved soul. And first 4, including Prithvi, meaning our world, people are not taught Upanishads. 5th, 6th lokas are the people who are explicitly taught Upanishads in Sukshma Jagat, I am talking about. Especially the people who are highly evolved, like great rishis or great saints, they are in the 6th lokas. They come to 4th and 5th lokas to teach them Upanishads. So we are in the first loka, and if we are studying Upanishad, that is a great responsibility on us. We are highly, we believe, I mean, you don't have to believe it, but it is, this is how I see it, that we are on that path, and that's why we are given this opportunity to learn Upanishads. And it is our job, our duty to carry it forward. I mean, that's how our Shastras have been preserved, right, for centuries or millennia. Otherwise, we would have lost all this. Okay. Second verse. Teha nasikyam pranamudgitha mupasan chakrire tam ha suraha papamana vividhus tasmat teno bhayam jigrati surabhi cha durgandhi cha papamana yesha vittaha. Meaning, they worshipped the Udgitha as prana that circulates through the nose. But Asuras pierced it with evil. Therefore, one smells both the pleasant and the unpleasant. Breath indeed is pierced by evil. Again, the story of Samudra Manthan and creation is going forward. So, Devas used Udgita, Omkar, and consider it as prana. That means it's not just the ordinary sound. Right? Sound is Vaikhari Vani. When we say Om, that is Vaikhari Vani. But then there is Madhyama, we just chant within our mind. Then it's Pashyanti, meaning we just see the letter, we just see the sound. And then Para, which is beyond even imagination. So that is that Omkar, which is beyond any imagination, that is Paravani. And that is Prana, which feeds the Pashyanti Vani, which feeds Madhyama Vani and Vaikhari Vani. So when we make that sound Om, the origination has happened already somewhere else. We don't realize it. But if we try to observe, when we sit down to do uh, let's call it dhyana, right? But when we begin, it's always dharana. Dharana meaning to assume, to guess. So we take some adhar. If we take adhar of omkar, then we realize that when I say om, that came from mind somewhere. The actions have already happened in our brain. Call it neurochemical activities, call it some muscular actions, whatever you want to call it, that happens in mind, meaning madhyama. Before that, we get some light, meaning some prerana. That prerana comes from somewhere else. So that is Pashyanti Vani. And that prerana which comes from our Atma or Atman, that is Paravani. So all this happens within fraction of even microseconds. We don't realize it. But that's how Omkar or any sound is fed with. And that's why it's very important that whatever we say, whatever words we speak, must be carefully chosen. And that's why even though this medium we are using English, but we must stick to as many original words as possible, meaning Sanskrit words, because they come from our mind, the Madhyama and Pashyanti Vani. So Devas used Pran, Omkar. They used it as a tool, right? The word exactly here, they worshipped Upasana. Upasana does not mean they took diya and did arti. It's not like that. Upasana meaning just consume it, make it as part of your existence. That's the upasana. Whenever we use this word upasana, asana is sitting, right? And upa meaning all that joins that asana. When we sit, do dhyana, it always begins with dharana. Dhyan happens automatically. So all this is a process of upasana. So do omkara upasana. That's how devas, the positive, I wouldn't say positive or negative, but the energy that's created or sustained our galaxy, that used omkar as a tool, did upasana, but that upasana was as a pran, meaning they try to consume within their physical existence. So all the celestial bodies, like our solar system has stars, planets, and there are billions of stars and planets. So they all started forming, meaning they consumed this omkar within them. So whatever that sound was consumed by them. And it's like breathing through nose. Even though, let's say, earth consumed omkar, when we say om, earth also consumes it. And what kind of nose? I mean, we have nose, but earth, there is nose without nose. We can assume that. And it consumes that energy like a prana. And that, even asuras, because asuras were present, the opposing energy or matter was always there. It also consumed omkara, but in a opposite way. That means they maligned, so to speak, the udgit or prana. And that's why Rishi here says that because of that, because how the galaxy is created, that's exactly reflects in our body today. Meaning from, if prana, which is udgit, omkara, is Brahma, why do we smell something bad? Right? Something that causes hatred or negative feeling within us. It's because of this. Because the original prana or omkar was consumed by devas, at the same time asuras also used it. And the word here is pierced. They kind of poked it. And that's why what we breathe today, even though it is prana, it is Brahma, we also smell bad things, which creates negative feelings within us. Going further, after prana, अथ ह वाच मुदगीथ मुपासान चक्रिरे tang hasuraha papamana vividhustasmat yo bhayam vadati satyam chanrutam cha papamana yesha viddha. Then they worshipped Udgitha as speech, but the asuras pierced it with evil or pap, right? Pap. Therefore, one speaks both truth and untruth. Speech indeed is pierced by pap. So, devas, they used Udgitha for speech, Vani, Vak. If it is Udgit, Omkar, Pran, or Brahma, then all must be speaking truth always. That's not the case, because at that time, at the time of creation, asuras, they use their actions or activities, which is called pap for us, and that kind of maligned speech, and that's why people say both truth and untruth. And I mean, all this solidifies the idea that yatha pinde tatha brahmande, or yatha brahmande tatha pinde. Right? Whatever is in the universe, that is within the body, and whatever is within the body, that is universe. And that's how everything is created. So when we say why there are 7 chakras, right? When we say there are 112 energy points in the body, that has some resemblance with how the universe or how our galaxy is created. Because in our Shastra's term, the universe is not the universe science says. It is the galaxy for us. Akash Ganga, Mandakini, what we call. That is our universe. And it has 7 lokas, higher lokas, and 7 lower lokas. That's how it is created. So we have 7 chakras that are major energy points. Similarly, the speech or vak, that is sound. When the sound was created, it was used by devas for upasana to bring everything into existence. But at the same time, asuras used their papa or their opposing or negative force to malign it. And that's why we say sat or asat. Now it goes further. Once there is sound, there are many creatures. They create vibrations, infrared or ultraviolet. Right? They can create that, but they cannot see because there is no need for them to see. Like bacteria, they just use electromagnetic exchanges. So for them, it's speech or vibrations, but they don't need eyes. When evolution happens, going further and further, the sight comes next. So in that krama, also and that is why, because that's how the galaxy came into existence. That's how our universe came into existence. So after speech, it is chakshu or sight. So fourth verse, अथः चक्षुरुद्गीत मुपासां चक्रिरे तद्धा सुराः पापमना विविदु तस्मात् तेनोभयं पश्यति दर्शनीयं च दर्शनीयं च पापमना येतद्विदम्. Meaning, then they worshipped Udgitha as chakshu or sight, but asuras pierced it with pap. Therefore, one sees both the sightly and the unsightly. Chakshus or sight indeed is pierced by pap. So, in next krama of evolution, chakshu or sight, devas used Udgitha or Omkar to see, but asuras, they also consume Omkar, and their opposing force, their pap, maligned it. And that's why we today see good as well as bad. Right? If our chakshus are made up of Omkar or Brahma, why would we see something that creates negation or hatred? Right? So after chakshu comes hearing. अथः श्रोत्र मुद्गिथ मुपासां चक्रिरे तद्धा सुराः पापमना विविदुस तस्मात् तेनो भयम शृणोति श्रवणीयम चा श्रवणीयम च papamana yetat viddam. Meaning, then they worshipped Udgitha as Shrotra or hearing, but the Asuras pierced it with pap. Therefore, one hears both that which is worthy of being heard and unworthy of being heard. Shrotra or hearing indeed is pierced by papa. So now Devas could hear that sound, Om. That is the next evolution of creation. Asuras also heard that, but they created opposing forces or energy, and that's how we today hear something good and something bad, something which creates all the negative feelings, right? So, I mean, how beautifully this is put into these verses. If one wants to understand evolution, if one wants to understand creation, if one wants to understand how this body behaves or why this body behaves this way, I mean, all the answers are here. So, in the krama of evolution, the last is mind. So, even mind is like that. Athaha mana udgitha mupasan chakrire tadha suraha papamana vividus tasmat teno bhayam sankalpate sankalpaniyam cha sankalpaniyam cha papamana yetat vidam. Meaning, then they worshipped Udgitha as mind or mana, but the Asuras pierced it with pap. Therefore, one thinks both thoughts, the proper and the improper. Mind or mana indeed is pierced by pap or evil. So we say that I want to think good, but always some bad thoughts come to my mind. It's not possible to always think good, right? Sometimes we even forget that we are thinking bad. We consider everything we think is good. We are always good. We are always pure. But that's not the case, right? That's only our context or our understanding of ourselves. And that is not wrong at all, because this is natural. And nature is created like this. We can't do anything. If we fight, again, they say that why do sadhana? Right? Sadhana is to control mind, to make our mind such a way that we can control all our negative actions. But why should we do that? Answer is also this: because our universe or the galaxy is created with forces of devas. Devas are the creators for us. There are some galaxies which creators are asuras. Then we worship asuras. But we are, for us, major part is devas. So we must worship devas. That is natural. And that's why we want to control all these faculties: our mind, our speech, our sight, our hearing, because we want to be aligned with devas more. And that's why all these sadhana paddhati, puja paddhati, all these social norms, right? I wouldn't say even social, all the dharmic rules that follow these, do good, be good. Why? Right? Somebody might question, why should we be good or bad? If it is decided by Bhagwan himself, Bhagwan gave us this birth and this life, why should we do good always? If it is bad, that is also part of Bhagwan. And if it is bad for others, who says that it is bad? Right? Who is there to decide? All these Gen Z, they have these questions. But the answer is here. Because our universe is made up of devas, we must align with devas to be in that natural state. Otherwise, we'll be always in constant friction. If we follow evils or asuras, we'll be in the friction constantly against devas. So it is natural to be aligned with devas so that this friction is less and less, and we can lead to our path, that is mukti. That is the ultimate goal for all of us, even if we consider it or not. Everybody is going in that direction, right? So for that we must be aligned with devas, and that's why all this sadhana, puja, do good, be good, right?
Actually, I have two questions.
Yes.
The first one is the Noah. You said in the series of evolution they use the Gita.
Right.
So, but how did they use it if the senses are after the Gita? Like that's why you mentioned the earth. There is no nose, but that's how it perceives the energy. So they perceive it through other means.
No. Consider it this way, because they hear Omkar, meaning the faculty of hearing is created right away with that process of hearing. Then onwards, the faculty of hearing is always there. But very first time, or even when they started seeing it, so the act of seeing happened at the same time as that Omkara being consumed or seen.
Consumed by like
Devas.
by hearing, because for us Omkar
No,
is-
no. Here's the problem, right? Omkar is, when we say Om, that is a sound, which is the Vaikhari Vani. But before that, in our mind, it is already created, right? How the Omkar is being pronounced. The whole process is already decided in our mind. So that is Madhyama Vani. And Omkar, we know that later, by habit or whatever, but our Rishis, they gave us those letters, right? So this is how Omkar is represented. So that symbol, that seeing already happens even before Madhyama Vani. And even the prerna or the manifestation of Omkar or seeing or hearing, that already has happened in Paravani. So these are all different processes. That means all the various faculties. When we talk about Bhagwan, he can hear from nose, he can hear from eyes, he can hear from skin. Why are we saying that? Because the indriyas that we know of are confined to only us. It does not mean we cannot smell through tvacha. Right? We don't have that ability, but other creatures, it's ultimately interaction of electromagnetic waves or interaction of particles that can happen via any faculty. It's just how mind interprets it. That means whatever is said here, that process already happens in the devas at the same time that is being consumed or seen as a particular faculty.
Okay, because they're not limited to our indriyas.
Yes, even we are not limited, but our mind plays the trick, right?
And the second one was you mentioned there are other universes, I guess, galaxies.
Right.
In this context.
Right.
That Ashuras are run or are defined by them. So the people
Right.
living are quote unquote evil, but then they are in alignment with their creator, so then they are defined.
Exactly. So asuras, devas and asuras, yin or yang, right? That's how we say. Or two faculties. One is a creator, the other is destructor. Now who is creator here and who is destructor here? Always in that context we say devas and asuras. For some other galaxies, whatever we consider as asuras, they are the creators for them. So for them, they are the ones to be worshipped.
But then there is no evil.
Exactly, there is no evil because everything comes from Brahma. So whatever it comes from Brahma, how can that be good or bad? Right? Everything is within Brahma.
Okay. So, but then there is no like code to live by,
No.
except that you have.
No.
It's like you are in this team, then you play for this.
Yeah,
team.
yes, exactly. Align with your team. That's all. Yes. There is no good, there is no bad. I mean, very basic thing, right? If we consider Earth is our mother, what is good here? Soil, air, wind, sky, clouds, rain. But then there is lava, there is earthquake, there is typhoon, there are all the evil forces, so to speak. But if we go to Jupiter, those evil forces are what major part of it, right? So maybe if there is a living being on Jupiter, they live with those forces. For them, Earth is right.
But here we also associate the asura concepts to be like foul smelling or untruth. But if we say they people living like that are also fine if asuras were their creator then.
Exactly. Because it creates negative feeling within us. That's why they are called asura. If they create good feeling, they are not asuras, right? Who is asura and who is sura? It's all contextual. Let's understand in terms of physics. So there is gravity and anti-gravity. There is, let's even go to the particle level. There is electron and positron. For us, electron is how the particle is, the atoms are made, molecules are made, the interactions happen. But in some other galaxy or some other universe, positron is the force that binds or creates everything. For us, positron is evil, but for them, positron is God. For them, electron is evil. So who are we to decide? Everything comes from Brahma. These are all, as I said, we have to be aligned with our team. And that's why all these processes, or good, bad, whatever we consider. And then, whatever this is said, those rishis lived in Satyuga, right? In the Chaturyuga system. That's how the society was. That's how the system was. Over the time, many bad things started happening because people always misuse power or always misuse vidya. And that's how the rishis have tightened their rope. So they created more and more stricter rules that do this, do that. Right? And that's how our current society is, or our current dharma is. Not the real dharma, but the religious, what we call it. So dharma is to align with Prakriti. And what is our Prakriti? It is devas for us. And we must align with it. Omkara, right? Let's take an example of Omkara. It is made up of 3 basic sounds, A, U and Ma. Because our Omkara is A, U and Ma, that's why we say Om. But somewhere it might be U, Ma and A, so could be Uma, right? Instead of Om, it could be Uma. Some galaxy might have been created like that. For them, Udgit is Uma, not Om. Quite possible. So, because our Udgita or our Brahma is Om does not mean Uma is wrong. Right? It is equally right. And that's why we see the greatest example, Valmiki Rishi. He was given mantra Ram, but he chanted Mara Mara Mara. Still, he became Valmiki Rishi. Doesn't matter whether it's Ram or Mara. Right? So, it's all how we see the social rules, social fabric, how we see all these rituals and traditions. And that's why people say that once you go or evolve in your sadhana, you don't like all these things, right? If you keep doing arti every day, that means you are still there. You are not evolving, right? It might seem contradictory, but from his biography, I came to know that Swami Vivekananda, he was here in 1893, right? 9/11, September 11, 1893. And he shook the Western world from that day. He stayed here, I think, for next 3 or 4 years. Then he went to UK also, and then back to Bharat after 5-6 years of staying in Western world. When he went back, at that time Ramakrishna Paramahans was already left. Ma Sharda was there. So when Swami Vivekananda established Belur Mutt, he started living there. Maybe this is 1897 or that type of that time frame. Then many other Shishyas complained to Ma Sharda. They used to call him Naren, Swami Vivekananda, original name. That why Naren doesn't come to do Sandhya Puja, why Naren doesn't do or perform any arti, why Naren eats beef. In Western world, he used to eat beef. How can he do that? He is a sannyasi. Then Ma said, even if he eats human, it's not going to affect him. But don't follow him. He is above all this. So he has already evolved such a way that for him, let me ask you this. Now we all are grown up. If somebody says, hey, come to this class, I'll teach you ABCD, will you go there? Right? So if you evolve in your sadhana, then why would you go back to learning ABCD? It's the question. You might go there for fun, right? Just to enjoy how I used to learn this, right? For fun, nothing else. You are not going there for learning. You are not going to do arti because you want to evolve. Because you like it, you want to enjoy it. If it is fun for you, do it. Otherwise, if you are evolved, it's up to you, right? So these are all prescriptions, tools to evolve. Even murti, right? It is very contradictory to say. But a murti is a tool, just a tool. But it creates or invokes some shraddha in us. We created this tool such a way that when we align with that murti, we evolve. That's the only thing. So we use that tool to evolve. But is it right? Is it wrong? Who are we to decide? Right? We just align with whatever works for our universe. Whatever rishis have seen, just follow that. And that's why we have that vigraha or murti, and that's why we do rituals. Otherwise, take any mandir. We have seen Sri Krishna Murti here, right, in this mandir. If you go to other mandirs, is it exactly the same Murti? No. How can we decide that this Krishna is right or that Sri Krishna is right? So what is right? It's just a tool. Whether it's Toyota or Honda, it's your choice. And that's why always this knowledge or this vidya has to be taken with a pinch of salt, with vivek buddhi. Otherwise, we can go into asura path also. Asura for ourselves, right? In our universe, whatever is considered asura, we can easily go or divert it to that path. And that's why just follow whatever is said by great rishis. That is important. Not sure whether I answered you, but
No,
7th verse. अथ हय एवायं मुख्यः प्राणस्तमुद्गिथमुपसाञ्चक्रिरे तं ह सुरा ऋत्वा विदध्वन् सूर्याथाश्मान माखणमृत्वा vidvamsetaivam. Then they worshipped Udgitha as the primary prana. But when the asuras tried to pierce it, they were themselves pierced and get killed, just as the clod of earth breaks to pieces on hitting a rock. So how asuras were defeated? Use of the words here. Makhanam avrutatha. So when a pind of makhan, the butter, when it hits a rock, how it is shattered. So when primordial prana, meaning original, consider it in terms of current knowledge, science, the black hole is at the center, when the asuras tried to malign that, tried to mess with it, they themselves got killed. Because our primary force is the devas we consider. So the asuras that we consider got defeated by that. They themselves got killed. They were destroyed. That's how the creation started afterwards. And yeah, that's our team. So we must align. If asuras were still there or existed even now, then we could go either way. They just maligned certain things like our ability to hear, smell, speech, mind. So asuras are not present anymore, but since they aligned the udgita or prana, let's say there is omkara. Let's take an example of sound. In that sound, if some other sound tries to assimilate, what will happen? The original om is distorted. So that distortion is created. The distortion is already there because of asuras. And that's why even the asuras for us no longer exist, we still get their effect because it was done at the time of creation. And maybe it's because Brahma wanted it. If everything was good, perfect, what's the use of all this, right? All this movie, right? If everyone was perfect, no drama, right? No drama. But Brahma or God always wanted drama. Brahma wanted to enjoy, right? We are his or her enjoyment. If there is no drama, what would he do, right? Or what would she do?
Then there will be no sadhana.
No sadhana. Everybody would be perfect, Brahma. Maybe there are some universes like that. We don't know, right? It is a possibility. Maybe the creation was like that for them. But for us, that's what it is. And we must be, that's how we say that, right? That we are Katputli of Bhagavan. So whatever tune or whatever dance he wants to do, let's do that. Because our universe is already distorted. So just follow that.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
So you say there are different universes. So we took a birth on this universe as
Right.
this soul. In any different lifetime, this soul can go on different universe?
Yes, that is possible. Not majority of us don't do that, or we don't have that ability. But it is said that people of 6th or 7th locus, they have ability to cross universes. And the example given is in Yoga Vasishtha. I forgot the Raja's name, but he was given this ability. So he could see himself at the same time in different universes doing different things.
So it's like a multiverse.
Multiverse, yes, yes. So we might be existing on other universes, right? Not always, but we might.
But we don't know.
We don't know, yes. We don't know. And one other example is Narad Muni. He could go anywhere, anytime, any instance. Right? So there are examples in our Shastras. And in Yoga Vasishtha, it is said that in one universe, Brahma is the creator, like our universe. In other universe, Brahma was the destructor, destroyer. He had the role of Shiva in our universe, in other universe. And some universes were born and destroyed right away. Some universe always exist, they do not evolve. So there are various things or observations given in Yoga Vasishtha about universes. So, yeah.
So Yoga Vasishtha is, then I haven't read it, but is it understandable if it's got these metaphysical concepts with some...
It is understandable. But it's very large. It is as big as a Purana. So there are multiple versions. I couldn't find the original version yet. They always, I mean, they have Sankshipt version, the abridged version, not the original one. Original is very big.
So these concepts, they're sort of explained or just stated?
It's a katha, story.
Yeah.
So you'll enjoy katha. But understand, these are the questions by Ramachandra himself. So he was already at that level. And then Guru Vasishtha gives this knowledge. So it's, I mean, this Grantha is of that level. But easy to understand. I mean, I don't say it's complex.
Because these concepts, if you haven't heard of them before, of other universes and your
Right.
own self existing parallelly at the same time.
Same time, yes.
Is
Right. We can't imagine, right? Okay, we can end here today. What am I thinking? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.